Hello and welcome to another England match report with me, Adam of the Toon Network. It's finished England 0, Belgium 1. That means England will play Colombia in the last 16, the first round of the knockouts. Belgium top the group. They will face Japan, but quite controversially, obviously this whole game, a bit of a dead rubber. As it panned out, and what we all suspected, both sides were fairly weakened. In fact, we pretty much rotated the entirety of the first team squad, with the exceptions of Pickford and John Stones in the first half as well. A lot of people have been pussyfooting around this idea that you know, we don't like to say the easy path to the final. It is the easy path to the final. We've lost. We didn't throw the game. Both sides fielded weakened sides, and we tried to win the game. We did. We created plenty of chances, as we did against Tunisia, as we did against Panama. You know, we've had 11 shots tonight. The finishing was pretty poor. All being told, Rashford probably the guilty party. I mean, if you've seen my previous two match reports, I was all for Marcus Rashford getting that chance, because I feel like he's just one of those players that has the X factor, can pull something out of the bag, as he did in the you know, the pre-tournament friendlies. I think it was Costa Rica with that spectacular finish from long range. But he was getting into the. I thought Vardy worked really hard tonight. He was picking up a lot of loose balls. He was very, very active. He was very quick. He was working very hard defensively from the front line, which is what we'd like to expect from Jamie Vardy. I thought that the midfield were a bit outclassed. Eric Dyer, who is coming in for Jordan Henderson, he was a starter in the Euros, wasn't he? He scored a free kick as well in that tournament, has sort of been playing a bit second fiddle this time round. Didn't have the impact. I don't think that we would have liked that. You know, he was protecting the back five, as it were. But to be honest, in all honesty, it was a very, very awkward circumstance and a very, very awkward game to watch. It felt like a friendly. It didn't feel like a World Cup game. It was a bit pedestrian. All the top names weren't playing. I mean, imagine you're a fan, and you've obviously this circumstance isn't intentional by either of the nations. Imagine you're a fan. You've travelled to Russia. You've got tickets for England v Belgium, which seems to be the only you know, big ticket game in our group, and it is just a complete dead rubber, as it has been tonight. The game was settled. I mean, you'd be so annoyed, but then again, what's Gareth Southgate and Roberto Martinez supposed to do? I don't know. Really, it's just a really awkward one. I had so many conversations. You see loads of tweets from journalists, from fans saying, "Oh, we have to go for the win. We can't get into this mindset that anything but a win is good for us." To an extent, that's true, and in terms of the integrity of the sport and sportsmanship, that's absolutely right. But has not winning today put us in a better position? Yes, 100%. Have we thrown the game? No. Did we go for the win? Yeah, we did go for the win. We just weren't good enough on the night. It was settled by a single moment of magic from football's forgotten man, Adnan Januzaj, former Mackham. Helped get them relegated, which is fantastic. But he's just pulled one out of the bag there. I think that was Danny Rose. He tricked. He went to cut in on his left once, then dummied it, and then dragged the ball again back to create that half yard of space and curled the shot past Pickford. Now, whether Pickford was slightly unsighted on that shot, I'm not too sure, but it was a really impressive goal, really nice technique, and I think the way he worked it in such a tight, enclosed space was very, very impressive. However, it wasn't in the top corner. Pickford's done a massive dive, very, very elaborate dive, and he's not actually reached it. He seemed to come very close to it, and obviously I'm not an international quality goalkeeper, so I don't. It's hard for me to understand if he should have got that goal or not. I think he probably could have got closer to it as an amateur. I don't know what you guys think, but as it's happened, that goal has settled the game, and it's put us in the best half of the draw. We now can't face Brazil, France, Uruguay, Portugal, any of these teams we have history with. If we can get past Colombia in the next round, and it's a Colombia team where James went off injured today, he hobbled off, he looked very, very annoyed. It looked to be a bad one. It was weird because obviously he was able to hobble off, but the look on his face, he was really annoyed, and he knew he had to come off. So that bodes well. Even if he does play, he won't have trained. From what I've seen from Colombia in the first encounter against Japan, against Senegal as well, is that they do not like fast, energetic, mobile, dynamic forward lines running at them at pace. They can't handle it. They go to pieces. You see their opening game, Carlos Sanchez handled very, very early on from a counter-attack. Japan were pressing on them and got sent off, and then that ultimately got Japan the win. And against Senegal, certainly in that first half, Senegal were all over them. The likes of Keita Balde, Sadio Mane, Niang, just running at them, and they were panicking. And I think the way that Senegal played against them in the first half today is similar to how England have played against Tunisia, how they've played against Panama, just on the front foot, pushing the defence back, asking questions, create chance, getting shots off, forcing the keeper into making saves. And I think Colombia are going to struggle. Colombia have David Ospina in goal, who isn't a first choice regular for his club side. It's a goalkeeper I thought Newcastle might have looked at last summer, but in terms, we went for Willy Caballero, and then we've now got Dubravka, so it's sort of academic anyway. But Ospina is a player a bit similar to the Argentina situation with Sergio Romero. They do not start for their club sides. They have Davinson Sanchez in defence, who's very talented, but maybe a bit raw. They've got Falcao, who got his World Cup goal in the second group game. Very, very tidy finish, but he missed a good header earlier today. Looked a little bit off the pace. Is he a threat? Yes. Might he have a point to prove because he failed in England? Yes. Is he a good finisher? Yes, he is. But I think the team is built around James Rodriguez, and if that talisman, that could have a knock-on effect, the confidence of the rest of that squad. So actually, if we consider how things have panned out, forget this 1-0. It was a dead rubber. It's barely worth discussing, because had we won, had we not won, there's pros and cons to look at it from either side. It's probably the best chance we'll have of beating that Colombia side now, because of what I've seen. Because they scraped through on discipline, didn't they? Fair play against past Senegal, and the talisman's injured, and they look shaky at the back. There's a lot of talk about saying, well, a defeat kills the momentum of England. I don't agree with that, because it's a different team, and we only played our last game on Sunday, and we'll be playing our group game, I believe, Monday, Tuesday. I can't remember which one it is, but ultimately it's just a week away. So we can still build that momentum. If you think of a club side in league football, you can still keep momentum going with a week's, with a week duration in between. So I don't see it as an issue. This was essentially a reserve run out, an England B match. It was England B versus Belgium B, but we can still keep that momentum going because we played a different side tonight. It's almost like everything that happened tonight will have absolutely no bearing on what we may or may not do in the tournament from this point. It was formalities. And I hate to say it, neither nation brought the game into disrepute. Both nations have been put in a very, very difficult position because of the circumstance, because they were both qualified. Neither were going to play their best players simply because they want to save them for the knockouts, regardless of who they're playing. So Belgium might be delighted that they topped the group, that they won 3 out of 3, that they get to play Japan, which they might fancy their chances against in the second round. However, after that, they're probably going to play Brazil. Looking at England's half of the draw, the good half, I'm going to say, the easy route to the final. It's not an easy route, but it's the easier route. We get past Colombia. That'll be a huge test of how good this side is. And to be honest, that doesn't bother me, because if we're not going to beat Colombia, we're not going to win the World Cup anyway. So have a go. If we don't get past Colombia, it was never ours to win. If we do, we face the winners of Sweden, Switzerland in a quarter-final, which would be really tricky games, but you still fancy our chances. You still would. We have more star players than them, than either of those sides. But I think what all three of those European sides I've just mentioned have in common is that they work well as a unit. They're sort of, it's less about the ego. I mean, and this, the absolute star players like Belgium. Full fat Belgium with De Bruyne, Lukaku, Hazard, good Hazard. The player revolves around them. Yes, you could argue Harry Kane's a huge talisman for us, but he doesn't. Our team relies on the play of the wing backs, the running and dynamism of like Lingard and Sterling. The solidity of the three-man defence, Jordan Pickford's ability to play out with his feet, so Henderson's ability just to stop in and do a job and protect. So as much as Switzerland might have Shaqiri, Sweden have a few dangerous players. Sweden have quietly gone about the business. Switzerland have been quite impressive as well, but I still fancy us to beat either of those sides. I still fancy us to beat Colombia. I fancy us to beat Colombia. I fancy us to beat Sweden or Switzerland. I think Sweden are probably going to edge it, to be honest. I think Sweden have looked quietly strong without too much fanfare in this tournament. And then semi-final, and yeah, let's get carried away. Semi-final, probably Spain. But if England managed to reach a semi-final against Spain, I'd be absolutely delighted with that. I'm sure most people would. It'd be a tournament to remember. It already is, really. I'd like to think Kane could score again in the knockouts, even if we only play one more match, which would put him on 6, would give him a really good chance of getting the golden boot. But I think this situation tonight, this game, it'll be quickly forgotten, and the focus can turn to the knockout game against Colombia. I think it'll be a very, very exciting game. Fully expect to win it though. Last World Cup meeting between us, can you remember what happened? 2-0, Darren Anderton, David Beckham free kick. That was his first goal for England. So yeah, I mean, we again tonight looked relatively dangerous from set plays, but and it was Alexander Arnold taking them in Trippier's absence. A couple in the second half didn't quite get past the first man, but I thought his deliveries from open play were really impressive. He's got a really good technique, and I just think whipping balls in like that for Harry Kane, who's probably a better header of the ball than Vardy. It's another option that we've had that we've seen tonight that we could probably rely upon going forward. I thought Danny Rose was canny as well. There was a couple of goalmouth scrambles. So it was one of the first half where Pickford didn't quite get two hands on, and Batshuayi's just nudged it through, and I thought John Stones was absolutely fantastic to read that, clear it off the line. And obviously there was another one in the second half towards the end where Harry Maguire had come on for Stones at half time, ludicrously attempted to pass the ball with the outside of his right foot blindly, facing goal 6 yards out. I mean, just ludicrous. It turned out to be a free kick in the end anyway, but just it got a bit scrappy in there, and I think we're starting to realise why Walker, Stones, and Maguire are, in spite of that error that I've just mentioned, those three as a triple, I think work. But they've yet to be properly tested, and this is what the second round is going to be all about. We're finally going to go up against a side who I don't think would ever have the potential to win the competition. They might say the same about England, but they are definitely a team that has the ability to get to semis, quarters. So first real test of the tournament against Colombia. We've lost tonight, but I don't think too many England fans would be that bothered, that upset about it. Maybe the England fans who made the trip would. But we're in the best half of the draw. You can dress it up whichever way you like. You can say that, oh, well, we shouldn't be playing. We didn't play for it, so we're allowed to enjoy this. We lost, but we can enjoy the compensation of, having the wooden spoon of having the best side of the draw. Obviously, we're going to get past Colombia, but I fully fancy us to do that. I fancy Kane to score, and I think we're going to cause them loads of problems. So, 1-0 to England. Sorry, 1-0 to Belgium. Maybe it is 1-0 to England psychologically because we're on the right side of the draw. Anyway, I've been Adam at the Toon Network. Thanks for watching another England match report. Catch me after the Colombia game where we're definitely going to win 4-0. I've been Adam. Bye, bye.